We are live. We just finished talking about the NFL. We were talking touchdowns, but it's time for the world-renowned NBA rundown where Tyler and I will go through the slate, find the best spots to target. But, Tyler, before we do, I want to talk a little bit about what we saw yesterday. Obviously, Christmas Day for most casual fans is the first NBA they saw yesterday. So, we can even take it through that lens, right? If you just first started watching these teams, what would you think? What were your overall takeaways from yesterday? We won't go game by game, but just did you have some general thoughts about what we saw out there on the floor?
Yeah, the only big overall thoughts is Suns are cooked spread. That team's not winning any championships anytime soon. Burton and Jennings is saying KD should probably get out of there. I mean, that would just be such a bad look, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to get out of there.
I mean, you can't do that.
You can't, but you can.
I mean, he screwed that franchise up so bad. I mean, if they could undo that trade for him right now, do you think they would and just keep Bridges and Johnson?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We got to slander the Lakers, though. What happened?
They didn't care about the game. They flat out, LeBron said it after the Saturday night game against OKC. He said, the only thing I'm worried about on Monday is his daughter opening presents. He's like, I ain't worried about a basketball game. And showed on the floor. Boston went in, did their thing. Got out.
Boston's so good.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy how in my head I had Porzingis is like just a nothing for all these years. Like, I'm like, oh, he's the stat guy, right? He'll put up good stats. He's never going to amount to anything on a winning team. And he's gone on there and just made that team fantastic. We missed the morning game. It wasn't on our treasure map that we put out, but we both liked the Bucks. That was so tricky with the back-to-back there. And so we ruined that one. And then what was the other game that we missed, Tyler? What was the – oh, and then the 76ers, they didn't care about that game either.
And then Jimmy sat on the other side too, so did Jimmy Butler. Like that game didn't touch my TV once.
It's just so weird how the NBA is trying to make. They want these regular season games to mean more, and they just can't get the players on board with it. Okay. Anything else from yesterday? I mean, it's not like football. We can't really overreact because most of these teams will be right back in action real soon, right?
Nah, that's it for me.
The Orlando Magic are minus 7.5 in Washington, taking on the Wizards. The total is 238. The total's gone over in 7 of Orlando's last 8 games visiting Washington. 4-year trend. Orlando's 4-1 straight up in their last 5 games against Washington, but Washington is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. Even though they suck, Tyler, they're constantly catching a lot of points. 7.5 is a lot at home. My projections want me to take the Wizards, but I'm not going to do that, Tyler. I'm fine staying away from this game unless you see something that I'm missing. I have this game at 118 to 114. We know I'm projecting a little low. But you know what? Let's talk about that a little bit under the scope of this game. Do we think with all the festivities yesterday, do we expect more overs or unders, or is it just completely random?
Yeah, I think it's completely random. I wouldn't sit here and try and tell you to bet all the overs or bet all the unders. Maybe if you look back.
I think there's a little bit of hangover. I know I'm moving slow today.
Yeah, maybe if you look back through the trends, you could find something on that, but I have nothing on that right now. As for the game, though, I lean Orlando. I think they win. I'm not laying 7.5 with the injury report, though. Fultz is out. Ingles is questionable. Isaac's out. Suggs is questionable. If those guys sit, it's just going to be Banchero and Wagner out there. I'd maybe bet the Banchero 25 plus and win at plus 140, and you can get the Wagner 25 plus and win at the same price. Maybe I'd bet those if I had to get action on this game, but I ain't laying 7.5.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. The Brooklyn Nets are minus 6.5. They're taking on the lowly, woeful Detroit Pistons. Tyler, these teams just played, right, on Saturday night. And the Nets were able to win and cover. Do you think they overlook the lowly Pistons here? The Pistons have a chance to cover. I have this at a 118 to 112. That would like the over. But, it's moved to 230. It was 228.5 when you did this. The trends for this game, they've gone over the last 5 times they played against each other, though. And Brooklyn is 5-0 in their last 5 games in Detroit. And that last game was in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, I believe
Detroit
so.
was plus 10, and I think they lost by 12. They still didn't cover. What do we do?
It's Brooklyn or pass. I'm not betting Detroit. It's as simple as that. They got 2 wins. You said it on the show before. It's the pressure's on now to be the team that lets them win a game. I would just fade them if I had to bet this game.
Yeah. All right. But we're not going to do that either. Guys, we got to give you guys a disclaimer. I've talked about for years, and if you've been following me for a while now, I believe this is the hardest week in the NBA all season to handicap. The week between Christmas and New Year's. We have no idea where these guys' heads are at. There's so much extra travel involved. Like, for example, the Utah Jazz, who we're going to talk about in a bit, they're in the middle of a road trip, right? Normally they would just stay on the road the whole time, but I don't know, but my assumption is they all flew home to be with their families, and now they're meeting up again today. It's a lot of travel, a lot of wear and tear, and we don't know where guys' heads are at. I mean, to be honest, my New Year's plans are going to be pretty lame. These guys got a lot of stuff coming up in the next week that they're going to be trying to take care of. So this is a really tough week, and we're going to give you full disclosure. Tyler and I said we're going to try and find at least one play per day. But it sucks because a lot of people are on vacation right now too. But this is not the week to bet the NBA. And they almost do this to the bowl games too, right, Tyler? Where all these guys sit out.
Yeah, all the guys sit out.
Even if you watched all year, it's hard to handicap.
Yep.
You have to really be a college football expert to know that and how these guys played in high school to handicap some of these games. So really disappointment. But another big road favorite that we are afraid to take. Guys, of anything of the first 2 games that we took so far, I would take the over in the Brooklyn-Detroit game. But I don't love it. Richie says Detroit moneyline night, and I hope so, man. I like Monty Williams. I like Cade. I like the team. I like what's going on there. I did to go in the season, and it's been nothing but disappointment. So hopefully Detroit can turn this around, and they're not one of the historically worst teams all along. I think they've lost 72 of their last 75 games if you go into last season. Here's a good game, Tyler, and if it wasn't this week, I mean, this would be – I'll probably take it. This will probably be my game of the night anyways. But Thunder T-Wolves. Timberwolves are the best team in the NBA in the West right now by record. Oklahoma City Thunder right on their tails. Both these teams have made market improvements this season. I'd say both these teams are legitimate contenders to win the Western Conference. Now OKC's laying 2.5 at home. When I take a look at this injury report, it is fairly significant here as Karl Anthony Towns is 50-50 game time decision, and there will be no Jalen Williams, who's been so good for the Thunder so far this year, averaging 17, 4, and 4. So a couple injuries on each side here. Tyler, God, I wish this wasn't this week because this is a great matchup. I have this as a 2.3 Thunder win going over. I got 230 on a 227.5. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, I probably would lean OKC. I mean, Cat's questionable. That could be big. Jalen Williams questionable, but I think he plays. It's just a weird game, too. So you said it's a weird week. I already picked out the spot I want, and this isn't it. I can see this game going either way. I think it's rather just watch it from a distance and not have any money on it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it tonight, though. Usually I choose one game per evening to DVR and really go over. And I think that's going to be the game tonight. But maybe you can talk me in to one of these matchups coming up that might not have as much championship implications, right? It might just be a little more fun. The Memphis Grizzlies are +5 now, Tyler, in New Orleans, taking on the Pelicans. Another interesting spot here. I got to pull up these travel spots here for Memphis. When was our last game, Tyler? Memphis was in Atlanta on the 23rd. That's not too bad. So they flew home, had Christmas, and now they're flying to New Orleans either last night or today. So that's not that crazy because they had a home game right before that. Memphis is 3-0 since adding John Morant. But let's look at New Orleans. They're coming off a 2-point loss at home to Houston. But if we just sort, I'm trying to sort just by home. New Orleans is 10-5 at home this year. And they're 5-4 against the spread as a home favorite. So actually, that's not as impressive as I thought. But New Orleans has definitely been better at home. I don't know what to make of the Pelicans. I never get them right. What do you think, Tyler?
I'd lean taking the points with Memphis. I mean, since Jaw's back, they've looked good. The injury report doesn't scare me on either side. It's the same guys that have had Q tags or been out anyway. So if any come back, it's a help for Memphis. If any sit, they've already been out. New Orleans has blown leads in the fourth quarter, and Memphis gave them problems recently. So I lean Memphis here.
All right. Yeah. I know it just feels like every time I go against the Pelicans, they look like they're actually a championship contender. But I agree with you there. And the projections do. Well, hold on. What were my projections for that one? Too many windows open. Do you have the projections up, Tyler?
You have the Pelicans winning 113 to 108.
All right. To be fair, Grizzlies projections aren't that dialed in yet because of how much different the team looks with John Morant running that backcourt. The Utah Jazz are -3.5 in San Antonio taking on the Spurs. Now, the Jazz were a team that I really think illustrates these tough travel situations for the teams that are on road trips during Christmas. So let's take a look at their most recent games. I'm pulling up Utah right now. So Utah actually had a 2-game winning streak on the road. So they left Utah on the 19th. They lost in Cleveland. Then they beat the Pistons. Then they got that win over Toronto, which obviously we were upset about because I had Toronto in that game. So then they fly back home from Canada, and now they're going to head out here to continue their road trip. At the same time, San Antonio is coming off a 3-game road trip, comes home, takes their Christmas. Now they get a little home cooking here. San Antonio's only 5-8-1 on the road. And that's 5-8-1 against the spread, and they are 4-8-1 as a home underdog against the spread. Tyler, how do you see this one?
Yeah, this is one of the spots I do kind of like is the Jazz. I mean, the Spurs are just in shambles. They don't look good. Victor's probably not going to play. If he sits, I think the Spurs are right back to where they were last year. So I think I'd have to side with the Jazz here, but I don't know if I get there to pull the trigger yet.
All right. Tyler is not sure about taking the Utah Jazz. I'm fine staying away from that game altogether. The Indiana Pacers are +3.5. They're in Houston. They're taking on the Rockets. Tyler, I talked about it a little bit earlier off the air. I guess I should have brought it up when we were talking about the Lakers. Boy, if they didn't have that in-season tournament, I think that the concern around this team would be a lot higher. I think that in-season tournament win kind of got them a lot of wins for a ninth-place team. And Indiana is another one that I believe got overvalued because of how well they played on the big stage, of course, getting those wins over Milwaukee and then Boston, if I remember correctly, right? No, Boston, then Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But let's look at Indiana since that tournament. I mean, they're 1-6 over their last 7. Their only win was defeating the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, if the Pistons weren't so bad, we'd be talking about the Hornets as the cursed franchise, right? It's just the Pistons' ineptitude. It's kind of giving some of these other teams, they're sliding under the radar with how bad they've been. The Pacers most recently lost at home to Orlando. They got smoked in Memphis. They got smoked by the Clippers. They lost by 18 to the Timberwolves. They lost to the Wizards. and they lost to the Bucks in that revenge spot here. So this Pacers team's not playing good basketball. Tyler, let's look at what Houston's done recently. They come into this game on a 2-game win streak. They got a 2-point win as a 7.5-point dog in New Orleans. And they defeated Dallas in a game that we were on ourselves, and Dallas didn't play anybody in that game. I think it was Jaden Hardy and Tim Hardaway Jr. as the top 2 scoring options for Dallas. So, but they got the job done, and that 2-game winning streak snapped a 3-game losing streak. 2 of those 3 games were on the road, and they had a disappointing loss. Disappointing for me because I remember I bet the Rockets in that one at home to Atlanta. So I think this is an interesting spot here, Tyler, to maybe jump in and take the Rockets. I think so far of all the games we've talked about, this is my favorite one. And boy, you know, it's something that I noticed here, Tyler. Maybe there's a reason for this injury. Maybe they're not just overvalued. Maybe there's a reason Houston's playing so bad. That's because Bruce Brown's been out of the game during this 6-7 game losing streak. I didn't actually make that connection till right now. So with Bruce Brown out, are we going to continue to fade the Pacers? Do we like the Rockets to get the win tonight?
Yeah, that's the one spot I think we pull the trigger on. You get a good defense in the Rockets. You get a good coach team. I think they could beat this Pacers team. I trust that they're not going to be like super hungover or have like a ton of jet lag. They are at home. I feel like a lot of these guys stay in the Houston area. And you got the Pacers coming down. They're 0-5, playing out-of-conference games, ATS in their last 5. And they just haven't been playing good basketball. We're getting the Rockets at a short number here. I'm taking the Rockets.
All right, that's going to be our play. I'm going to place that bet right now. I got to log back in. Okay, we finally found a play that we actually want to bet, and that's the Houston Rockets. Felix says lean into variance and take more dogs during this time of year. I say yes. I would be wary of road teams today, though, Fila. I think that's going to work better for you as this week continues, especially going into like the New Year's Eve games. I do agree with you. I just don't know if tonight's the night that we want to do that. If we're taking a road dog, maybe a home dog will be more appetizing here. So let's see if we can go ahead and continue to find some more winners. Tyler and I only really like the Rockets so far, but we did have a lean to the over there with the Nets and the Pistons. The next game is the Atlanta Hawks in Chicago taking on the Bulls. You know what, Tyler? Maybe I will have 2 bets tonight. I kind of want to bet the Bulls here. Let's look at some of the trends on this game. When we're talking about this game, the total's gone over in 4 of Atlanta's last 5 games. Chicago is 5-1 against the spread in their last 6, and they're also 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 against Atlanta. So it seems like it's a good matchup for this team. I see Trae Young is 50-50. If I bet Chicago, I'd rather have Trae Young in there. Jalen Johnson is one that we've talked about a lot, meaning so much to this team. He's also a game-time decision, and Vukovic is a game-time decision. Only big name, well, we know Levine's going to be out for a while, is Torrey Craig on the other side. So it's looking like a starting lineup of Kobe White, Caruso, DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and maybe Vukovic there for the Chicago Bulls. Tyler, I like Chicago. Do you want to make it 2?
No chance.
Why not?
I hate Chicago, and I hate Atlanta, and Jalen Johnson's back.
Are you sure he's going to play?
It says he's in.
Okay. Where are you on? I'm on RotoWire.
I'm on Basketball Monster, and he was changed to in.
Yeah, why are they doing that? It says Shams Charania reported on Monday that he would return today.
It doesn't. It says he's listed in as of like days ago because this.
So they announced he's in, but they put him on the injury report.
Anyways. Yeah, he's probably got a probable tag, but it says he's in.
You also have to remember DeAndre Hunter is out for this team, not Tyler.
I just don't like the Bulls. I don't like the Bulls. The Hawks have screwed me too many times. We talk about this week. I've identified the one play I think we should pull the trigger on. I don't want to overextend and bet the Bulls here. They could win this game by 40 and make me look stupid, but I don't want anything to do with this game.
Just so you guys know, I just bet it. I took Chicago. We'll see if it comes back to bite me. But Tyler doesn't want to join me, and I think he's got some good reasons. Mainly, we talked about this is a tough week in the National Basketball Association to bet. But Tyler, let's talk about my favorite team. Tyler, in the NFL, my favorite team got a huge upset yesterday. Now my favorite team in the NBA, one of many, of course, is taking on the Portland Trailblazers, and they're 8-point dogs on the road. This seems like an excellent matchup for the Kings, right? Portland seems like a younger version of what the Kings are trying to accomplish, and that's going to be a good regular season team, outscore our opponents, and not be able to get any stops in the playoffs when it matters. But when you're Portland, when you're Sacramento, and you're never going to get a big free agent, I mean, unless you get a Giannis by luck, this is the highest thing that you can hope to achieve for. And I'm fine with it as a Kings fan. And I think Portland, after enduring this misery, would probably be fine as a Blazers fan too, because the team isn't very much fun to watch right now. The total is 236.5. Look at these teams have matched up recently when they've taken on each other. The total's gone under in Sacramento's 5 of their last 6 road games. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games traveling to Portland. I think we need a disclaimer there because they're usually not laying 8. They're usually the shorter spreads that we like to target, the -3s, the -4s. So take that one with a grain of salt. But Portland's 14-4 in their last 18 at home against Sacramento. Now, obviously, we play each other twice a year, so that's going back 9 years. So Dame, Marcus Aldridge, all those players are in there, and our team was terrible. You're going back to the Bagley days. Some really poor teams that Sacramento put out there. So I don't know how important that is. The total's also gone over in 7 of Portland's last 9 games hosting Sacramento. And hey, we've talked about this. I don't want to bet unders in Kings games anymore. When I'm looking here at my projections, I have the Kings winning by 9. And I have this game going under, but there's no way I would bet the under. I don't want to get involved. I think the Kings win. I think they did a good job sitting the spread.
Yeah, I think you hit everything on the head. I don't think I got to say much more. Kings win the game, not laying 8.
All right, help people out though, because they want action. We're kind of just chilling, but people on vacation, they want action. Performance double, blocks, points, Sabonis rebounds. How could they get involved if they want action on this one?
Let me get them pulled up. Fox 30 plus 130 and they win would probably be the one I'd default to, or Sabonis 14 rebounds and they win plus 150.
Okay. Don says the Kings aren't the same team as last year. I don't know. I think they are. If anything, I think they're better. They just ran really good last year. They never got hurt. They played a bunch of teams with injuries. They fixed their home floor. They actually played pretty well on the road, too. I kind of think they are the same team. They think they're better. They have JaVale McGee and Keegan Murray. What did they lose? It's just the rest of the West got better, too. Oklahoma City got better. Minnesota got better. The Clippers are better. Phoenix did not get better. The Lakers are better, I would say. Denver's still so good. All right. And he also said, who would I rather lay? I mean, I would take the Rockets over the Jazz by far. Don't trust the Jazz. I know you want to fade the Spurs, but still. All right. Final game of the night, Tyler. We have the Charlotte Hornets in Los Angeles taking on the Clippers. The total is 12. The total is 227.5. If Charlotte was at home, that's a lot of travel. So that's probably one of the reasons why this line's so high. Clippers have finally found their formula here together. Total's gone under in 5 of Charlotte's last 6 games, but it's gone over in 8 of the last 12 road games. Clippers have beaten Charlotte the last 5 games they played against each other. My model never likes big spreads, and I don't think it's going to here tonight. Yeah, I have it as a 9-point win. But when the spread's that high, the 3 points being off the number, it doesn't mean a lot. I don't like this game at all, Tyler. Am I missing something?
No, I ain't touching this game. Again, it's a weird week. I'm only betting 1 to 2 games a day. It's the Rockets, and these other games kind of just got thrown off to the side, especially one like this with a 12-point spread.
Yeah, I would agree. So,
no time fillers today, spread. We get right down to the business.
No time fillers. Bet.
Oh, Rockets. Plain and simple.
Right. Atlanta pointed this out. I'm fading the worst team against the spread in the NBA this year for my best bet. Give me the Chicago Bulls at home against the Atlanta Hawks. I think they continue to play well. Since Zach LaVine's been out, that team's played fantastic. And I think we will see that again tonight. So we have 2 bets for you, a couple other performance doubles if you want some more action. But guys, this is a tough week, especially in the NBA. We don't know where any of these guys' heads are at. And, when it comes down to it, I mean, these guys didn't even try on Christmas Day. What do you think they're going to do on December 26th, Boxing Day, right? I mean, LeBron said he didn't care about Christmas Day.
We didn't care about the game being played on Christmas Day.
You don't think that Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid would have been out there if it was a playoff game yesterday?
Well, 100% they'd have been out there.
These teams don't care. So I think it's tough. So you got to keep that in mind. Tyler and I enjoy the NBA. We enjoy handicapping the NBA, but we're also aware of its severe limitations as a competitive sport. So we'll be back tomorrow. Tyler, what are we going to do? 3 Eastern?
Yeah, right in that range, I believe.
It's a 6-game slate for tomorrow, and we'll continue to break it down. Hopefully, we just get 2 winners tonight. Hopefully we're just selective and we're just kind of slowly.
Yeah, the shows will be short for the next week because of just the way the schedule is.
And the fact that we don't like this week.
Yeah,
if
we don't like
doing
anything,
content, Tyler. I mean, let's just say we were just betting and no one even knew us, and there's no such thing as Twitter.
It would have took 3 minutes to go. All right, I'm betting the Rockets.
I think it's a tough. I think it's a good week to really, really be careful. So,
yeah, don't overextend. Don't go crazy. This week's wild. Yeah. Even if you think I'll just bet all the underdogs. Doesn't work that way.
It'll work later in the week, though. I just want to do it today with the weird travel.
Yeah.
I think Christmas Eve, you can start in some or New Year's Eve. In those days, you can start in some plus 300s and stuff. All right. All right, there we have it. We'll be back at 3 Eastern tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is the NBA Rundown. The channel is Nuke the House. Guys, give us that thumbs up. Share it with your friends and nuke the house.